Cute, amenable, reserved. Cute, amenable, reserved. Cute, amenable, reserved. Sengoku Nadeko exudes a doll-like image. Averting her eyes, her bangs shrouding her face, she wants to be unnoticeable. Nadeko never pushes back, going along with whatever others want, making her easy to take advantage of. She internalized this behavior to the point it comes naturally to her, not because she enjoys being treated like a doll, but because it's comfortable for her. In this way, she won't have to face the pain of rejection, not only of her own feelings, but of her true self, by Araragi and everyone else. In this way, she can stay hidden. Monogatari is filled with liars. Some, like Kaiki, make no effort to hide their deceptive intentions, while others are far more insidious. In second season, as we pull away from Araragi's point of view, not only do we see how his perspective skewed our image of these characters, but for the first time we get a full picture of the lies each one tells the others, recontextualizing what we previously thought we knew. We see behind the pure white image Hanekawa projects. We learn Kaiki is a far more ambiguous character than Araragi's colored introduction painted him to be. We come face to face with the real Nadeko, behind the mask. However, Nadeko's story isn't the lies she tells others. The cute image, her crush on Araragi, all of it is a front to cover her real desire. Sengoku Nadeko's biggest lie is the lie she tells herself. Nadeko wants to be a character with no story. In Bakemonogatari, she appears to be the only pure victim of her aberration. Where the other afflictions preyed on the issues the girls already harbored within themselves, Nadeko was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, cursed by two of her classmates for not returning a boy's affections. The violence inflicted on her is hard to watch, made even worse when we learn the only reason the curse activated was because of the snakes Nadeko slaughtered at the shrine. As Kanbaru points out, it's as if she hurt herself with her own hands, though we know this isn't the case. Yet, despite the incredible pain she must be in, she continues to maintain her image, holding it all in. When Araragi questions her about this, she hides herself in her bangs. The physical and mental toll this takes on her becomes apparent when she lets some of it out, pleading for Araragi to free her from this body. While Araragi is able to lift the curse from her, the aberration gets away. The arc and ensuing conflict between her classmates, sparked by Kaiki, only causes Nadeko to further close herself off from the world. In their encounter from Bake number 11, the lighting consistently frames Nadeko opposing Araragi. If she's in the shadow, he's in the light, and vice versa. He tries to reach out to her from the shadow into the light, but every time fails to grab hold of her. He can't see what's under her mask. She finally steps into the shadow, joining him as she says, "I'm really aware of people's looks, so I can just tell." Nadeko is keenly aware of how others see her. She saw how those around her came to hate each other, their suspicions, schemes, and deceit. She resented the ugliness in people and wanted no part in it. By retracting inward, she can stay detached from them. However, with that comes isolation and a desire to be seen. Thus, Araragi enters the picture. Nadeko wanted Araragi to worry about her, to save her, but not so much to love her. In her mind, there's less room for pain with an unrequited love than a returned one. Tsukihi calls her out in Otori number 3 for continuing to love Araragi despite having no intentions of pursuing those feelings. Because it's comfortable. She can invite him over and entice him as she does in Nisei number 2 for the attention she seeks. Because she knows it will never come to fruition, she doesn't have to be hurt by it, nor does she have to hurt others. Being in love with him means she can easily turn people down without totally rejecting them by saying she's already interested in someone else. In Nisei number 2, Araragi tells her she looks better with her bangs back, but she says she'd be too embarrassed to wear it like that outside. She's willing to give him this small glimpse behind the curtain, but won't remove that restraint entirely. Nadeko wants to peel back her cute exterior here and attract Araragi's desire, fully in control of the camera. But Araragi doesn't relent, explicitly stating he won't let himself be taken in. Araragi can't give Nadeko what she wants. He won't return her feelings. As long as she could play victim with him her hero, she could be happy, but not fulfilled. Otorimonogatari, or Nadeko Medusa, repeatedly emphasizes how nobody can conform to one role forever. Kuchinawa says, "Good people can easily become bad, and bad people can easily become good." Ogi tells her people can't be victims forever, they just have times when they are, and others when they're the wrongdoers. Finally, Shinobu points out how victims and culprits can easily switch places depending on perspective and circumstance. It seems to scoff at hardline moralistic thinking, but for Nadeko, it's more a case of crying wolf. At what point does her continuing to play this role become manipulative while deflecting any blame for her own actions? Ogi questions if she still sees herself as a victim. The frame isolates her in the center, bright light shining behind her, covering her silhouette in shadow. In the flash forward that opens the arc, she initially feigns as if she wasn't the one who put Araragi in such a sorry state, but the snake corrects her. This was unquestionably her fault. Nadeko's interactions with Kuchinawa take on an entirely new context once we learn he was an illusion she crafted in her head. Everything he says to her is coming from her own subconscious, her inner voice. When Ogi's words questioning her innocence are still ringing in her mind, the snake tells her, "There is no such thing as a victim. Only wrongdoers exist in this world." Ogi preys on Nadeko's lingering guilt for mutilating those snakes in her first arc, planting the seed for Nadeko to use this excuse of atonement as the most convenient rationalization for setting her on the path to restore the real snake god. In Otori number 2, she's repeatedly framed by a strawberry plant in her room, a symbol of purity, of her victimhood. It comes in again in her conversation with Shinobu, striking shots of Nadeko resting on a bed of strawberries. It represents how she subconsciously uses that cuteness as a pretext to lure others in, hiding behind it, her eyes matching the color of the snakes. Kuchinawa represents a desire to drop her defenses and let this inner self out. When she first encounters him, she covers her head and wonders if she could stay hidden this way. But the snake tells her to remove the blindfold, to look up truly. By not averting her gaze, she sees this full image of herself. She wears Kuchinawa as a scrunchie around her wrist. Despite her wish to keep him hidden, he assures her that he'll pretend to be just an accessory and won't infringe on her everyday life. Taken together, that internalized voice became something she could no longer hide from herself and thus others. Not completely. Nadeko always takes the path of least resistance, avoiding anything that will make her stand out. When Kuchinawa asks her why she changes shoes, she says she's never thought about it before. She goes through the motions of routine without stopping to consider why she's doing these things, only because that's what's expected of her, what's normal. Later on, after shots framing her as the head of a snake, cards read, "My survival technique is looking away and staying quiet, waiting for the other to just disappear." Nadeko's classmates are abstract images, and her teacher's face is shrouded as she won't address either directly. They chose her to be class president because she was unnoticeable and indifferent, and not wanting to push back, she didn't protest. When a situation grows tense, Nadeko apologizes. To fill silence, Nadeko apologizes. Without thinking, Nadeko apologizes. Shinobu and Tsukihi call her out on her flimsy deflections. Are you apologizing because you feel you're at fault, or because you took the hint that this is a situation where I should apologize, as if reading a script? Her insecurity leaks out to Tsukihi as she questions if Tsukihi only befriended her because of her cuteness. When Nadeko hurriedly apologizes and brushes it off, Tsukihi presses further, demanding a straight answer. Bored of her wishy-washy, helpless attitude, Tsukihi cuts off Nadeko's bangs, removing that physical shield. With her real face laid bare, she can no longer hide. So, the real Nadeko comes out. Kuchinawa claims the effects of assimilating with her gave her this capacity, and with her usual restraints gone, she snapped. However, we know Kuchinawa is an illusion created by Nadeko. Her outburst is a result of this inner self boiling up until it exploded outward. When Shinobu and Araragi confront her before she eats the talisman, Nadeko pleads for Kuchinawa to say something and help her. But it's just a scrunchie. No one can cover for her any longer, including herself. Like a Pandora's box, once this curtain has been lifted and the image shattered, to her there's no going back. Nadeko finally understands what she thought was an aberration was just her all along, with a push from Ogi to get her going. But it was more than a hallucination. She looked away from reality, as Tsukihi warned her against. Nadeko fell for her own trap. Even if only for a moment, she believed in this Sengoku Nadeko she carefully crafted. Calling back to when Ogi questions Nadeko of the exact same thing, here Kuchinawa insinuates she fabricated this tale specifically to live out a story. The real Nadeko had been living a life that had no prospect of becoming an actual story. As one adept at escaping reality, this was your biggest escape. With Nadeko's mask gone, we finally see signs of personal growth. She may be a crazed yandere god now, but at the very least, she's facing forward. In Otori number 4's after credits scene, she previews her imaginary scenario where she squares off with Araragi, Senjogahara, and the others. You can see my face clearly from the front. This meant I had my eyes fixed on what was in front of me. I had no intentions of hiding, as she ties her hair back. However, while she may not be running from others anymore, she's still running from pain. That's why she's hellbent on killing Araragi. By becoming this god, she sacrifices her own humanity, and in doing so, can escape any pain inflicted by such emotions. But she also gives up on her true desire. Ultimately, Nadeko's most hidden secret isn't any darkness within her, but a dream so beautifully normal. It reveals Nadeko's greatest deception is convincing herself she doesn't deserve it. Koimonogatari, or Hitagi End, picks up where Nadeko Medusa left off. The new god of the Kitashita Hebi Shrine, Nadeko decides rather than allow Araragi to cause her any more pain, it'd be easier to just kill him instead, promising Senjo Gahara she'll wait until their graduation. As this day of reckoning draws nearer, Senjo recruits Kaiki to stop Nadeko from killing them all. Who better to deceive a god than the master con man himself? Even so, Kaiki underestimates the extent to which Nadeko has already closed herself off from people. He believes the thought of others deceiving her doesn't even cross her mind. Even if she can't believe in others, she has no need to doubt them either. As it turns out, he should have listened to the one character who really could see through Nadeko's lies: Hanekawa. On the surface, Kaiki and Hanekawa are both uniquely suited to cut straight through Nadeko's facade. Why? Because they too are masters of deception. You can't bullshit a bullshitter. Of course, the reverse is true too. Nadeko sniffs out Kaiki's lies from the very beginning, pulling an act of her own. He failed to consider just how retracted she was, believing he could win her trust when there was no trust to begin with. How can you deceive someone like that? Hanekawa, meanwhile, picked up on this. She tells him Nadeko's timid, shy persona was not her impression of her. Instead, she felt Nadeko snubbed everyone, to the point nobody's words ever reach her. But how could a high school student see something the ultimate con man could not? Because Hanekawa has been where Nadeko is now, while Kaiki has not. Kaiki knows who he is. He's in charge of every truth and falsehood he makes. At the introduction of the arc, he explicitly warns the viewer he's a liar, to not take anything you see here at face value. His job is to delude people, and he does it exceptionally well. Hanekawa and Nadeko, on the other hand, deceive others because they've deceived themselves. They both locked away so tightly inside that their mask has become their legitimate self-identity. In doing so, their real selves receded inward, leaving nothing but a fake image behind. Hanekawa's pure white, and Nadeko's cute doll. However, you can't sustain this unhealthy mindset. Eventually, it will boil over. Hanekawa's bottled emotions materialize into the physical embodiments of her darkest sides. Black Hanekawa, her stress, and Tiger, her rage. While Nadeko fabricates a story in her head of the snake god seeking retribution, passing her inner shadows onto an inanimate scrunchie. As it seemingly takes on a life of its own, she makes it appear as though the snake is exerting this negative pressure on her, such that even when she does let her inner self out, she can easily pass blame onto this external force. Both Hanekawa and Nadeko completely close themselves off from the world, and even from themselves. As much as he tries to distance himself from emotional connections, Kaiki has not completely done so. When Kaiki visits Nadeko's home for clues, he comments how little her parents seem to truly know about their daughter. They recite the most surface-level characteristics, the doting words of a parent ignorant of the shadows she harbored in her heart that Kaiki sought. Not only do they seem unaware, but they actively don't want to know. Despite their daughter's disappearance, they maintain her room in the pristine shape it was in and still refuse to open her secret closet. They care more about preserving their image of their daughter than Nadeko herself. Kaiki comments how plastic this cuteness seemed. So this is Sengoku Nadeko, childish, cute, and disgusting. She seemed like a fake. It seemed like she was forced to be pretty. She was smiling, but it was somehow awkward. She grows her bangs down and tries not to make eye contact, or rather, expounding on that, it seems like she's nervous about something. Nadeko is afraid of this real self being laid bare, but not just the persona we see in Otori. If her room is a reflection of herself, what we see is the image she projects, while the person she wants to be is in the closet. Nadeko wants to draw manga. When she finds the talisman in Otori, Kuchinawa, as an extension of herself, but in her mind a god, tells her he'll grant any wishes she desires, no matter how ambitious.
高根の花、願い事。
ねえのかよ、なでこちゃんには神様に願いたいこと、
願いたいこと。
祈りたいことでもいいんだけどよ。
Nadeko says to make her and Araragi's feelings mutual, a conventional wish, one that would be expected of her. But as Kaiki later tells Nadeko, a wish may never come true once you say it out loud, because the moment you put it into words and tell someone, it begins to diverge from your feelings. What she told Kuchinawa was a lie. Your real wish isn't something you tell others, not even to God. Not a single person close to Nadeko knew she had a hobby like that, including Araragi, who she forbids from opening the closet in Nisei No. 2. Sure, there are hints throughout her prior appearances. She makes numerous references to Doraemon as far back as Bake number 11. She describes 80s manga as her favorites in Otori's opening scene. Both the Nadeko Snake and Medusa OPs have shots of her working on her manga at her desk. But she didn't tell anyone, because that was her true dream. Nadeko lacks self-worth. The truth is, she hates herself, or at least the person she's become, and feels like she has to be that person. Senjo Kahata's words at the end of Otori stuck with her, that Senjo hates cute brats like her. But Nadeko hates them as much as anyone. Yet, she's convinced it's who she is, and so can't do anything about it. So I have to love myself, who I hate so much, she says. I need to become like a god, so that I can love myself no matter who I am. The question comes up of whether Nadeko even wants to be saved, that is, return to being human. Kaiki notices how she seems quite happy as a god, but based off her own experiences, Hanekawa rightly responds, someone saying that they are happy doesn't necessarily mean that they are happy. Nobody knows that better than Hanekawa. Just as Kaiki says to Araragi, being happy and being fulfilled are not the same thing. Happiness can be a flimsy feeling. Humans' goal in life is not to be happy, but to become who they want to be. Yet Nadeko believes she has to be the person others perceive her as. For Nadeko, manga is her creative outlet where she can express herself free from the pressures of society and those around her. In that creative world, she doesn't have to conform to anybody's image of her, including her own. She can be the person she wants. But because of those external pressures, she's come to see it as something she has to hide. By the time of Nadeko Medusa, she resents it. Much like the arc's opening sees her walking back the steps she took in the Nadeko Snake OP, she also sits at her desk unable to work on her drawings, where before she happily did so. In her depressive state, she convinces herself they're unskillful, embarrassing scribbles, and to think anything otherwise is foolhardy. Quote, "They're all trash. I wanted to throw them out, but I was too embarrassed. Of course that's the reason I hid them there." It's one of Monogatari's most powerful moments. If you've ever created something, if you've ever reached for a foolish dream, you know the embarrassment that comes with putting yourself out there like that. Kaiki captures this beautifully. Creation is an embarrassing process, and dreams are embarrassing as well. You can't help that. That's something very common, but at the least, it's not something you should belittle yourself over. In Otori, Tsukihi advises Nadeko not to fall into the trap of counting on some unattainable dream to fall in your lap, like winning the lottery. Rather, you should look at reality. I think, in the context of Nadeko's yearning to be a manga artist, it doesn't mean she shouldn't strive for it, but that the only way she can make it a reality is if she strives for it. Echoing Tsukihi's comment, Nadeko says she can't become one just by thinking she can be one. To which Kaiki responds, "But if you don't think about becoming one, you'll never become one." Don't hide your passion. Don't shy away from what fulfills you. Believe in it. Believe in it. Believe in you. Kaiki is able to convince Nadeko to reach out for her true dream, making her see the worth in such a goal. The worth in herself, but only she can make it happen. Monogatari's overarching theme must be this. As Kaiki puts it, only you know about you. That's why you're the only person that can take care of you, and you are the only one who can grant your dream. Ultimately, Nadeko's story exhibits what makes Monogatari's character writing so universally relatable. People are liars. They deceive each other, they deceive themselves, they play roles. In trying to detach herself from that, Nadeko fell into those same patterns. She learned she could avoid conflict and pain by looking down, ears plugged, eyes away. She resents that doll-like treatment, trying to play it down, while not actively distancing herself from it, complacent in performing this role. That hollow existence eventually took away the one outlet she could comfortably express herself through, and as she came to hate herself more and more, that passion slipped further away, locked where no one could find it. Don't listen to anyone who tells you your dream doesn't matter. But even more, don't tell yourself that. Otherwise, the reality you look at will never be the one you want. In choosing to shed those defenses and put herself out there, Nadeko will face pain, and heartbreak, and all that conflict she tried to run away from. But she also might find herself. By looking towards her, face to face, that person can be whoever she wants.